Oh yeah, Maven is fairly easy, so I've beaten her deathlessly today. Life and spell hit, it's nice, but not necessary at all. You can get it by spamming augment caster on this assassin's mark ring. This is serious Awakener9. So I'm using this node, Awakener level +1. Yeah, I don't wanna get meteored. Oh, we stopped the music, right? It's tough to say. The single target in this build is created from so many different small things. You need attack speed, accuracy, crit chance, crit damage, and very strong ailments. Our ailments, by the way, strong enough to shock Cirrus, because we are also getting power charges from him. One of our nodes gives us power charges if you hit a shocked enemy. Actually, let's test it out. Will I get power charges here? Yeah, I do. So, shocking Cirrus is not a problem. We have so much non-elemental ailments here. Wait, is it here already in last phase? I thought we are still one phase behind. Huh. But yeah, that is Sirius 9 on a maxed out character. Then again, at this point, you can't, like, the damage here is with pretty much as much investment as you can put into it. So you have to invest a lot to get to this point, but you can get like half of that with reasonable investment. And half of that is still very, very much, I think. At this point, I'm way over 100x. So I can talk quickly about my equipment and your priorities. I think that's a good point. So basically, let's do a quick skip over my gear so that we can then, it also helps me to design the new video. So let's talk about the required items first. You want a MJOLNER. Later you want a MJOLNER with Fortify on melee hit. This should be one of your first big upgrades. Fortify and melee hit is really, really good. Other than that, we really don't care about this at all. You can try to get a double corrupted MJOLNER, maybe I'll look for that, but it's really doesn't matter much. Like, the only thing you can also get here is AoE, or maybe something with onslaught on kill, but it really doesn't matter much. So there's a different source of onslaught, so skip that. You want fortify, so we'll talk about the gems afterwards. So then Algo Mortis, required unique. If you, I just bought it. I bought it for 2x back then, no one used it. Then I started using it and some other people started using it, so yeah, now it's more expensive. Algo Mortis. Get one with a lot of increased lightning damage and elemental ailments. I also got one later with attack speed. Attack speed is really good for us. That's about it. It's cheap, 3 cares, but the corrupted ones are really good if you can get one. There's not much to say here. Light of Lunaris, get yourself one with high block chance. Really do it. Like, it's really good and it's expensive, but it's absolutely worth it. It's also semi-required. It's one of the biggest damage boosts we can get. If you have kept block chance and this room is up, I'm currently at 74 block chance. I can invest a little bit to get to 75, but that's okay. So 74 is enough, 75 is kept. It's 74% increased crit multiplier. It's insane. Plus 25 more if you've done a non-crit recently. We'll always be doing some non-crits, maybe one bow lightning or arc or a cyclone crit, one crit. Good enough. So you basically have 99, in my case, you have 99% crit multiplier on this single item. Plus high block, plus crit chance, plus damage, plus spell damage. And some ES. Really good. Okay, so now we are past the mandatory easy thing. Oh, and get an Astromantis. Like, before you try to craft yourself a plus gem amulet, get an Astromantis. Astromantis is really good. It does kind of cover a lot. So a crafted amulet is better, but Astromantis is a good start. Especially at the start when everything is not optimized, you're not super high level. Astromantis is just great. Okay, now we come to the complicated choices. This is not expensive. Cowl of the Thermophile is cheap, but it's a trade-off. If you get this, you will get 2 more annoyance, you will get a lot of extra attributes, and you won't have to take care of your fire resistance, but you will be spending a lot of your gear to get cold and lightning resistance. So it depends if you want to go for that. You don't have to. You can also go for a high resistance helmet with accuracy on that and skip the 2 annoyance. That might even be better. I kinda wanted to go for this option. I've never used it before, so I want to try it up. Yeah, you can absolutely go for bow lightning and enchanted helmet with accuracy. It's a perfectly valid choice. And maybe it's even a better choice. I'm happy with mine, but yeah, maybe I'll replace it at some point. I'll still have to look into that. Alright, now we come to the rings. Now at the start, obviously just go for whatever stat and resist rings you can go. Later on, you want a curse on hit, assassin's mark on hit ring. Level 8 is okay, level 12 is better. Now if you can, augment that ring a few times with cast augments to get spell damage and life gain on hit. We don't need mana gain on hit, it literally does nothing for us. I don't need cast speed, so basically I can remove cast speed later if I get a remove speed. I've never gotten it so far, and that's it. That's on one ring. Obviously more stats is better. This one's not perfect, but it's decent. The other ring, and this is a very, very, well, okay, it's a mid-game upgrade. Getting yourself one with Herald of Thunder damage is fairly cheap. So the one I would recommend probably at this point is this one. So you want onslaught on hit, and then you want to add an extra stat group, and it has to be Herald of Thunder. One of these two. Increased lightning damage while affected by Herald of Thunder, and one of these two, at least one of these two. So why do we want this one? Because it grants us onslaught on hit. So that means you will have onslaught against bosses. That's 20% and more, 20% increase attack speed. It's movement speed. It is just plain amazing for a cyclone build. So you can get one of these. Like this one has less mana regeneration, or this one has lightning resistance. If you can have both, it's also amazing. But you can have some amazing combinations here. So, and these ones are, so you can pick yourself one if you need one. But yeah, these ones are pretty good. And no, none of these are mine. I'm not trying to sell something to you guys. So late game, you can even try to get one with both damage types and onslaught. I also have some maximum life on mine, so this one is very, very crazy good. Also, don't forget you want attribute annoyance on your amulet, elemental damage annoyance or caster annoyance on your rings. So these are the ring slots. Optimizing these are really good. And now our belt is kind of universal slot. With some workarounds, you can work in the Harbinger belt. I don't think you should. I might be worth it. Don't think we need it because there's some. I've done some calculations, and you need an Awaken cast on crit, and then it becomes a little bit screwy for the Mjolnir, and you probably will have a lot of trade-offs. But the speed is nice. So I personally decided to use a Stygian-wise. The one I bought had lightning, so it had the cold and lightning resist and the flat life, and then I slapped it twice with I slapped it with a hunter orb and then augmented crit on that. But you could go with something way cheaper, but you really want the flask charge on crit mod. You can get it from two sources. You can either get it from some belt, doesn't have to be a Stygian-wise belt, or you can get it on the Watcher's Eye. I'll talk about the Watcher's Eye later. This really helps with sustained boss fights because we crit all the time, and that gives us 10 flask charges a second. And it's really good. 10 flask charges a second. That means, so it only recharges empty flasks. So if you have these 3 flasks empty, these 4 flasks empty, these 4, try not to empty the Quicksilver for no reason, you will be receiving one of these flasks back every 4 seconds on average. No, it doesn't stack with Watcher's Eye. You can only get one. On the cluster, on the jewel, you want onslaught if you don't have onslaught on hit, blind, and accuracy, and life. Like accuracy is really important. Get some here. If you're using a rare helmet, skip the accuracy here. Instead, go for blind and onslaught or something. So I need to augment life to craft the life on that. Yeah, boots. Earlier on, just get whatever assist and speed you need. Later on, you want elusive or tailwind. I prefer elusive because it's more defensive. I feel like I will be hitting some speed caps that I don't really want to hit with tailwind. So yeah, I prefer elusive, but you can do whatever you want. And you want effect of non-damaging ailments if you can afford that. This makes your sap, your chill, and your shock even stronger. We have a lot of non-damaging ailment effect if you haven't noticed. There, it's here, so it's so strong, even Shaper, Awakener, and so forth are really debuffed by that. So it's very powerful. As for the gear, get yourself an Impulsor. Like you can start with the Tabula, then switch to Impulsor later. Try to get a 6-link Impulsor, it's expensive, it's really good so. The one I got had +4 to bow lightning. Now I only recently upgraded that. I killed all bosses without that. It's just some insane endgame upgrade. The thing is, I bought this for 10x, but it wasn't linked, so I had to buy 1,500 Vow Orbs and 1,500 Fusing Orbs, and that was actually way cheaper than expected. So this one cost me like 25x, which is actually kind of cheap for a +4 Impulsor with 6 links. But yeah, that's a different topic. That's something you can do in the very, very, very end game. Don't go for that early on. Flasks. You wanna use a life flask at the start. So at the start you want to have the following flasks set up: alchemists, diamonds, rumies, basalt, and life. When you get a little bit tanky and have your fortify, you can replace basalt flask with Atsiris, and when you are even more tanky, replace the life flask with bottled face. And for the love of God, get yourself a good rumies with capped block chance, because block chance gives us multiplier, and put quality on all of your flasks. Like every time I see a player that has like 0 quality rumies, I'm feeling like, and you're wondering why you have no sustained boss DPS. You get so much damage from your flask, get yourself quality and everything, it's really important. So the tree is a little bit tricky. Now I'm gonna talk about the endgame version of the tree. You want a thread of hope, as there are several choices what to pick, but deep wisdom feels like a good one. Not quite certain if it really is a good one, to be honest. Maybe that one could be skipped, but it is 20% crit chance in my case, so it's alright. Snowforged definitely crit resists damage. Yeah, it's at least decent. Utmost intelligence, probably the most important one. Heart of Thunder, also really important, provides you with life leech to ES, really good. You can go for a light eater, but that's up to you. This one, so important, insanely important. Dorianis, without it, we have 1k ES, but what is maybe even more important, when we convert this to corrupted, so 50% of our damage bypasses energy shield. Why is it so good? Well, there's 2 reasons for that. First of all, our ES pool is not huge, it is mediocre. So 2.6 ES is easy to destroy. So with that, it is not so easy to destroy. Why is that good? Why don't we want to lose all of our ES before we lose life? Well, there's 2 reasons for that, even more. One reason is our ascendancy class works in a way that we regenerate life and ES at the same time. So I'm currently, without my golem, this golem is like 100 more, I'm currently sitting at a comfortable life regen of 560. This golem and some buffs, it's around 700, right? You can also spam Enduring Cry to get yourself 2k extra regen. This regen doubles as energy shield regen. So we regen life and ES at the same time. So if you destroy all your shield first and your life stays the same, our regen basically only works half of its strength. As long as we lose life and ES at the same time, our regen is doubled in power. So we are regenerating 1.4k HP and ES at the same time per second. This is like stronger than pretty much any life flask you can get. On top of that, we get life leech and ES leech, so they also help us. We also get Enduring Cry. Enduring Cry is actually very curious with that. So if I activate Righteous Fire, you see it's normal Righteous Fire, you see I'm losing life. Leech counteracts that, but if I use Enduring Cry, it quickly charges both up. So that's a really good way of, yeah. So yeah, that is an important note. Next up. So yeah, Glorious Vanity, get it, really good, really important, provides so much tankiness, it's insane, it's insanely good. Red Nightmare, don't skip this, this is really insane. Why is it so insane? Well, with this skill tree, it gives us 12% block chance. 12% block chance is a lot. On top of that, we get endurance charges generation while mapping without relying on Enduring Cry. Enduring Cry is reliable when you are bossing, but while mapping, you don't want to rely on that. So endurance charge generation provides us with a lot of resistance, with a lot of additional physical resistances, and it's good in general. So we also get the plus 20 intelligence, which is good, so it's right. Just really important jewel. Yeah. This one, I have Watcher's Eye. So I feel like this is probably one of the best Watcher's Eye you can get for this build. It causes Zealotry to take enemies 10% increased damage. This is technically a more multiplier, but it stacks additively with this, so it's 25. This, so it's 33 plus 25, it is 58. And this is also 9, so this is 67. So it's a 67% more multiplier as long as the enemy is on consecrated ground and it lingers. That means that if the enemy leaves consecrated ground, it still lingers around for 4 seconds thanks to Sanctuary. But yeah, attack speed and crit multiplier and consecrated ground is probably the best combination. Attack speed is also good. If you don't have the Flask charge node here, you want it here. So there's a Flask charge on crit for precision node. Your last jewel should be an Corrupted Blood immunity jewel. Why? Because you don't want to die. There's not much to discuss here. If you get to 20 Corrupted Blood stacks within a few seconds, or within a second, like instantly, and it can murder you. You don't want to deal with that. You don't want to deal with that at all. So you get yourself a Corrupted Blood jewel. Never bother with bleeding ever again, and you're good. That's it. Otherwise, yeah, there's try to get yourself a good one. So this one has damage, attack speed, and 2 multipliers. It's a quite good example. I think this one has cost me 2x. They are fairly cheap because they are found in Heist. They are found in Ritual, and there's a lot of nodes that are good for us. You can go for life, you can go for AS, you can go for multiplier, you can go for crit chance, you go for currency, you can go for damage, you can go for attack speed. Just pick some, make yourself a good trade query and find yourself a good node. Cluster jewels. To answer how I created the cluster jewels, this jewel can be manually created. So how do you do that? It's a little bit tricky. So there's 2 ways to do that. You can either buy a jewel with 2 nodes. So first of all, let's talk about cluster jewels in general. You want 4 nodes on your cluster jewels. 4. You want Doriani's Lesson. You want Snowstorm. You want Overshock. And you want Storm Rider. Now you can get these. You can get Overshock, Storm Rider, and here. You can also get 1 or 2 of these here, but you can only get Snowstorm and Doriani's Lesson on your large cluster jewel. So prioritize these 2. How did I create this one? So I bought a jewel that had Dorian. So I'm gonna show you how I created that. So I was looking at the cluster jewels, noticed there's nothing that would kind of work for me, or it was so expensive I could ever afford that. So I'm gonna give you away my secrets, guys, so listen up. If you have a jewel that has, for instance, let's say Overshock and Snowstorm, right? These 2, you have these 2 at this point. It has 2 prefixes, right? So let's say you want the right, and you want a Doriani's Lesson. Now take a look at what Doriani's Lesson has. It's life, damage, elemental. The only other jewel life node is add small passive skills, also grant regenerate life per second, right? So if you have a jewel that has these 3 or these 2, and then you augment it twice with life, at most twice, you will definitely hit Doriani's. If I have a node from Glorious Vantage that gives me lightning leech and more lightning damage, do I need Doriani's? No, you don't. Then you can go for something else, like widespread destruction. As long as you have lightning leech as life, you don't need Doriani's. Doriani's is only providing us the life leech. You can also get it on a ring. So if you have a different source of lightning leech as life, you don't need Doriani's. You can go for a different combination. But you need that lightning leech as life. It's really good. It's really, really important. So I have this trade query saved up. Now it's not perfect. But if, for instance, you hit Advance, for instance, a really, really good jewel. Or this one, like if you buy this jewel for 80 chaos and hit that one with Augment Life, you will end up with a jewel that is worth 5x. So do with that what you want. It's up to you. So enjoy your crafting manipulations. Anyway, next up. So that's how I created this jewel. I bought one with Overshock and Snowstorm and exalted, well, and regenerate life, and augmented it with life for Doriani's lesson. On the other jewels, so there's probably better life jewels than I have. Maybe I'll look for some better ones. But Sublime Sensation is a really good node. So you get some life, you get some yes. On top of that, try to get jewels with 25% increased effect and some intelligence, dexterity, resistances, and so forth. That is basically how I roll with this build for cluster jewels. So there's more things you can do. You can go for megalomaniacs, but that's kind of getting a little bit more in depth. Speaking of which, I wanted to check the megalomaniac traits. I've been looking for one specific one. That's trash. That's bad. Bad. That was okay, but it's not good enough. Not good enough. Alright, well that basically covers it, but we still have one more thing to talk about, and that is flasks. Gems. So let's talk about our main link first. Our main link is Cyclone, Bow Lightning, Inspiration, Cast on Crit, added lightning damage, and slower projectiles. And you should not start with this link combination. Do not start with that. It's an awakened added lightning damage, unless you can afford a level 5 and only a level 5 awakened added lightning damage. Other options are better. Until you have your bottled phase, run increased critical strike chance here. Once you have your bottled phase, try to buy yourself an awakened lightning damage level 5. So you want to get both at the same time. You really want a bow lightning that is divergent. Divergent bow lightning provides a lot of damage. Sorry, wrong. Forget everything. You want a bow lightning that is level 21. Just get yourself a level 21 bow lightning that is like 15 chaos. Afterwards, get yourself a divergent bow lightning, level 21 only. Do not upgrade from level 21 bow lightning to divergent level 20. I do not think it's good enough. I don't think it's a good idea. I think you want to upgrade only from level 20 to from 21 to 21. 2 overshock nodes are stacking? Yeah, they're stacking. The maximum shocks are not stacking, but it's doesn't matter. So we want the lightning ailment and the damage, and the ailment effectiveness is really good for bosses. So that's sap and that is shock. So one reduces the damage, one increases the damage. So both are amazing. Cyclone. It's not a priority upgrade, but get yourself a divergent one. A divergent cyclone gives you 5% less decreased movement speed. So instead of having 30% less movement speed, you have 25. Is this good? This is really good. Why is it so good? Well, because you will be spending a big part of your time cycloning. And this will speed up your clear speed, this will speed up your boss fight, this will make you more agile, this will make you more tanky because you'll kill the mobs faster. It's really worth the investment, it's very important. Slower projectiles, try to get one with level 21. Level 21 slower projectiles is really good, quite good. Try to get yourself a cheap one, the quality matters less. Cast on crit, do not go for Awaken cast on crit. I was trying something out with Awaken cast on crit, it was not worth it. You can get yourself one if you want, it is not worth it. You get like 3% more damage or 2% more damage for switching from normal cast on crit to awaken cast on crit. So basically it is not worth using it. Just get yourself a normal cast on crit. Oh, by the way, you want to keep your attacks per second at less than 6.6. So you see currently in my hideout it's at 4.83. While attacking in maps I'm at 5.5, sorry 6.5, so it's different with charges and so forth. Inspiration, overall a good thing, just get yourself one. At some point you can go for a anomalous inspiration for a little bit more crit. Just a little bit, it's not amazing, it's a little bit. Yeah, awakened lightning damage, if you get it, get yourself a level 5, otherwise don't get it. Not much to talk about here. Arc, get yourself a level 21 arc. They are very, very, very cheap. You can just sell your awakened COC. It's like you can get like 10x back, whatever it's worth right now, and just invest into something else, because you get like 3% more damage. It's nice, but it really is not insane. There's so much more you can do with that money. Arc, get yourself a level 21 arc. Why do we care much about arc damage? It first of all, level 21 arc chains an additional time. That is great. But much more important, arc is our node to apply ailments. Our ailments are based on the strength of our damage. So you want to maximize your arc damage, and your arc damage is maximized with awakened added lightning damage, previously normal lightning damage, and with control destruction. I might get myself an awakened control destruction because I can at this point, but it's, once again, it's a very small upgrade. Yeah, might bite myself. Awakened control destruction. Also, level 21 arc chains an additional time. An arc deals 15% more damage for each remaining chain. So level 21 arc is super important. Yeah, cast damage taken. Currently using Steel Skin, Summon Stone Golem, and Code Snap. You want to use a high level arc cast damage taken here. It's really good. Summon Stone Golem, you can also get a 21, but it's like 5 region more for 2x. I felt like, yeah, it's okay. Steel Skin, really good for defenses, helps us with chaos damage. Code Snap, you can replace this with anything, but it's nice because it applies the chilled ground for Algo Mortis, and also might freeze some enemies, so it has kind of offensive, defensive capabilities. You can also generate friendly charges. Now this is an endgame link. You can run Blood Rage for attack speed, and I recommend doing that. Blood Rage is good for attack speed. But I'm also running Vortex. Vortex is your normal link. You want to run Vortex all the time. Vortex applies chilled ground. When enemies are chilled, we can sap them, and we can also, and we also deal much more damage to them. So chilling enemies is really important. On top of that, while we cyclone, we can use Vortex, so we don't have to stop. So this is really nice. What else? Well, later on, and that is once again a very, very expensive. Divergent Cyclone is better than Awakening COC, yes. Much more important than this. Awaken COC is like low priority upgrade. It's like Awaken Control Destruction. It's nice, but it's really is little upgrade. Anomalous Blood Rage. This is a big upgrade. It's an expensive gem, but it's really good. It has a 2% chance to give you a frenzy charge when you hit a unique enemy. It's really not much, but we hit enemies a lot. So you hit them with a cyclone, you hit them with your bow lightnings many times, and you hit them with your arc. On top of that, we can run an enhanced level 4, and this gem is like 7x, so you can afford yourself a 1x enhance, to increase its quality to 4%. So now you have 4% chance to get a friendly charge. So Blood Rage provides us with 15% attack speed itself, the alternative quality one. On top of that, we get 3 friendly charges in a second. This means, a second, what the hell? So yeah, on top of that, we get friendly charges, and the friendly charges are 12% more attack speed, 12% increase attack speed, so it's 27% increase attack speed and 12% more damage from this gem. It's really good. Righteous Fire, you can activate while Righteous Fire for bosses. If you are crazy or brave or both, depends on the context. You can also run Righteous Fire on normal maps. Yeah, it's just a ton more damage. It's nice. It is really nice. Precision, get yourself a level 21. It's like 70 more accuracy, really good. Vital Link, no discussions here. You just have to run Precision. Herald of Thunder, really not that important. Only good because we are running Circle of Regret. Yeah, provides us with some additional lightning damage. Not much, not really worth discussing. Nothing special, but is very powerful with Circle of Regret. Zealotry, try to get level 21 Zealotry. There's like 1% more spell damage and 1% extra crit, so that's nice, but not too important. In general, important Link because it also gives us Consecrated Ground Sustain on unique enemies without having to stand still. Dash, I prefer the Anomalous version because it has more dashing range, which allows us to map better. Enduring Cry, get yourself a level 21 Enduring Cry if you can. Provides us with a ton of defenses, not really much to discuss there. It's instant, it's insane. I run it in the on left mouse button. So can you use Call of the Brotherhood? Why would you? I would not. I see no reason to do that. I mean, you can, but why would you? You want your shocks to be strong, so I wouldn't convert your damage. And we have Snowstorm for Shatters. If you don't have Circle of Regret with Onslaught and Hit, would you run something else apart from Herald of Thunder? So if you don't use Circle of Regret at all, you could maybe go for something like Flash and Stone or Blood and Sand, whichever of those had damage resistance. So the one, that's probably what I would run. But you can also run Herald of Thunder still, or Herald of Ice for the Shatters, whichever you like. There's like, you have choices there. You can also run as the Spider mod if you want. So that's another option. Up to you, mate, up to you. Yeah, Second Wind, not much to discuss here, really good for, and both Dash and Anomalous, and for Enduring Cry, really good. Arcane Surge, keep it at level 5. That means every time we dash, at least level 20 dash, we get Arcane Surge. Now, my Arcane Surge is a normal divergent. You don't need that, but it is nice. Why is it nice? Because you get Arcane, it lasts 7 seconds. Well, 6 actually. So it is pretty nice because this Arcane Surge is 12% increase. No, sorry, more spell damage. So it's nice for boss fights where you, well, basically do not guarantee that you dash every 4 seconds. So every dash you have 7 seconds of increased damage. Currently I have Mjolnir level 5 added lightning damage and no Bottle Phase. What do you say Bottle Phase is a priority? No, your priority first is fortify on your Mjolnir. So that is like definitely your priority. It's so much damage reduction, and then get yourself the Onslaught and Kill on the Abyss Jewel. So get it yourself here. And then get yourself Bottled Phase. Bottled Phase is really good. There's no denying that it's a huge upgrade. Dobry wieczór, Sandra. So yeah, that is basically a rundown of my current character. I think we've discussed every single item, gem, blink, and so forth. Did you take a lot of corrupt so you can make a 45 Mjolnir? I bought it for 2x. Divergent dash is, so phasing itself is kind of nice for every build that is not us, right? Because we can just cyclone, and while cycloning you have your phasing anyway, because while cycloning you pass through enemies. So it really doesn't matter much. That's why I prefer anomalous dash. The one with extra dash is also good, but I don't think it's quite as good as anomalous dash. The dash distance is just so good for mapping that allows you to pass a lot more ways and so forth. Let's run some haywork. Oh, we have a lot of atoll maps. Okay, let's run these. I love these. Oh, whoops. So yeah, I hope that answers your questions. Maybe we'll upload this part of the stream on YouTube so that you can review it and some other people can review it. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.